now for a session presented by TA Connections. Please welcome the president of TA Connections, Mike Appleton, in conversation with Skift research editor Dan Marshak.
Hey, Mike, thanks for joining us today. I guess I get to say welcome back because you were with us here last year at Skift Aviation Forum. But with that said, I understand a few things have changed with TA Connections for the company. So can you tell us a little bit about that? What brings you here, and a brief overview of what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, Dan, thanks. Welcome back. And I had a great time last year. The one thing, I changed my background because the majority of the people came to me, didn't remember any of the content, but they remembered that I had the water from our view in Miami. So appreciate being back and appreciate the time. So yeah, a lot of things have changed over the last year. Last year, we presented about our crew platform that does the automation for the crew logistics piece, and that is from the beginning of the process, and the RFP automates direct business to business all the way through the crew management system, where it would automatically place the crews in transportation, automatically put them into hotels, then do the reverse invoicing and have a virtual payment card. So pretty much guaranteeing that bargain for exchange, seamless contactless system for crews. Today, we're going to talk about our HMT tool, and that is for distressed passengers. And ultimately, what we're looking to do there, and what we have done for majority of the airlines in the U.S., and we're moving it out globally as well, is be able to give a very similar platform for passengers when there's any sort of mechanical or weather event, where they can, in the same manner, go right to the phone, have a contactless solution that will put them into both transportation, automatically put them into a hotel based on their class, and then finally through the technology, give them some sort of meal voucher that is digitized.
Oh, that's great. So, well, from what I understand, to help contextualize this and get us into our conversation, you've got a quick video that you wanted to show. So I'm going to ask our production team to roll that really quickly. Wow, it looks pretty cool, and from what I could tell, at least from the video, pretty intuitive too. And it seems like obviously all in one place on your mobile phone. So you gave the quick overview, kind of on when this occurs in a disruption during travel and in a distress situation. So can you explain to us a little bit more and how this is a better travel experience for the passengers in these situations?
Yeah, sure. So if you look at where we've come from in the old world, right, you used to have some sort of disruption, and let's say a plane had a mechanical issue, you would pretty much take all the passengers off the plane, put them into a queue, typically at the desk, might go to the station manager, depending on the airline, and everyone would wait in line, and then they would have, what they would get would be a travel voucher and a meal voucher, and it would tell them to either go sit in the taxi line, and ultimately they would get to the taxi line, it may or may not work, they may then go to the hotel, the right hotel, the wrong hotel, they picked the wrong brand, or the right brand, wrong property. And then they would get to the hotel, hand it to the front desk. Front desk may or may not understand exactly what that was. Very time consuming, very costly for the airline, a ton of spoilage. Ultimately, the tool that we built, HMT, what it does is it digitally connects to the passenger manifest system. And so when the passenger has any sort of disruption, say they're flying from Miami to JFK, they land at JFK, they're supposed to fly on to X place, they get there, and for whatever reason, there's a disruption. Passenger already have either a push notification or a text saying you're entitled to the hotel room. Unfortunately, the plane will not be departing tonight from JFK. However, you're entitled to a hotel room. Would you like the room? And at that point, they could select if they would like the room. If they do, it'll then automatically procure directly transportation. Could be through some of our partners like Uber and Lyft. and then it would provide them a meal voucher if the airline was willing to do so. And the nice thing about it is, number one, post-COVID, right, it's contactless. They're not sitting in long lines. Number two, it's self-service. So we find that, for when we do all our polling with our clients. So ultimately the airlines, elite customers, they don't want to sit in line. They don't want to sit there waiting for a voucher. They want to be able to really, self-service themselves. And this really enables. So it puts someone who feels powerless in that situation. It brings them to be able to really control their own destiny.
Yeah, that's great. And just thinking from a personal standpoint, we've all been through those situations. Anyone who's traveled frequently has been, has had that travel disruption. And then, yeah, you have this long paper trail of, different vouchers, not knowing where to go. And so really, this is great because in some ways it seems kind of long overdue in terms of having all of this available right on your mobile phone. So that's great to hear. So, obviously though, this solves some problems that go both ways. It's not just, it's a great benefit to the passenger, obviously, but it benefits the airlines as well. All those things I just mentioned, the paper trail, streamlined communications, payments, revenue opportunities. So in what ways does this technology, how is it a breakthrough for airlines on that side in terms of enhancing customer service?
Yeah, sure. So number one, the customer experience is much better when you have someone being able to self-service themselves, right? As opposed to sitting in a line where, oftentimes it may be frustrating for many people in the line, may be frustrating for the people at the front desk, and it's just not a great user experience. It enables them to really, take that away from their front desk agents and put it directly into the user's hands. Number two is it allows the user really to be in control of the destiny in real time. And so rather than them sit there and wondering, am I going to get a room? Am I not going to get a room? It's automatically really provided to them. And then I would say third is the ability through our rules engine that it will allow the airlines to customize what they want to provide to what type of passenger. So if it's a basic fare as opposed to a first class fare, it may be a different type of transportation, a different type of accommodation that you're going to provide. And so on our rules engine will automatically set up that, for example, our platinum loyalty elite customer is going to get X type of room, whether it be 3 stars, certain number of miles from the airport, maybe a certain type of meal voucher, maybe it's a little bit more, maybe it has a little bit of spend discretionary. So ultimately, it can really be customized at that level. And then there's a huge benefit to the airlines on the expense side as well, because it's pay for usage. So as opposed to the old days where you give someone a voucher and it's for $15, they give it to the hotel and then the hotel bills the airline the $15. Here, if they go and they just get a banana at the hotel, when they hit the voucher, it's actually a digital card. It can go into their wallet inside their smartphone, and it'll only charge the airline for that certain amount. And we can keep it open for a certain limited time. So we can put a lot of parameters around that. So it's really a fantastic product, not only for the user experience, but also for the cost for the airline.
Yeah, that's great. And obviously, you touched a little bit on some of those operational benefits as well for the airlines. Is there anything else that you can kind of give examples of? You talked a little bit about kind of tiering, if that's something that they wanted to do. Where are some of the other efficiencies and optimization opportunities that this really brings?
Yeah, so it's really it automates the entire process. So if you looked at before the flow, it was customer comes off the plane, goes and sits in front of either a gate agent or a station manager, and then they wait, and then ultimately someone typically would take them out to the curb and help them get into the transportation. In this side, it allows the gate agent, the individual who would be escorting them out to transportation, and even the station manager to focus on really getting that plane and the crew back into the sky as efficiently as possible and as quick as possible. And it automates that entire process. So it takes that out of the hands. And then there's a communication tool that we can communicate both with the passengers as well as the station. So everyone understands that everyone has been taken care of. So they could be, I would say, much more data driven and much more analytical as opposed to much more tactical. And so that's obviously a huge benefit to the airlines. I would say the other one that just comes to mind is just that, again, that user experience, right? It always goes back to that. We get a lot of ton of great feedback is passengers aren't happy typically when they get disrupted. And so the idea is to make it as seamless and as smooth as possible. So, what we'll hear often is, it wasn't a great experience that I got disrupted. However, from that point forward, they did the best job that they could under the circumstance.
Yeah. So, geez, Mike, this time flew by. Looks like we're already running up on our time. So I think, just if maybe take 30 seconds, what's the one thing that excites you the most about this? And what do you think the airlines are going to appreciate the most about this this new innovation?
Yeah, I think number one is just that contactless self-service piece. It's really where everything is going. It's a one-of-a-kind tool. It has the payment integration directly into it, and so you're getting that pay for consumption, as opposed just to that blind payment. Dan, I appreciate your time today. If there's only one suggestion I can make, instead of putting me sandwiched between Scott Kirby and Sarah Nelson next year, please put me somewhere next to less dynamic speakers. I would appreciate it.
Well, look, everyone's watching, so that's that's the advantage, right?
Or this was their time for the bathroom break between the two best. But no, really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Mike. Take care.